guys, the road to WrestleMania is definitely kicked off now as we just finished watching the 2017 Royal Rumble. It had its ups, it had its downs, it could have been slightly better.
It had its ups and down.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we kicked off the kickoff with the 6-women tag team match from SmackDown.
Which should have been on the main goddamn card.
Absolutely.
Because it was a good match.
It was indeed. We had Naomi, Nikki Bella, and Becky Lynch taking on Mickie James, Natalya, and the SmackDown Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
I will say, this wasn't like a mind-blowing match, but it was solid.
Yeah.
It was a really good match for Naomi.
Yeah, well, I mean, solid is the best you can hope for Nikki Bella anymore. What?
There was 5 other girls, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was great. Each person got to have their own, moment in the ring. Becky Lynch in her weird cut-off jean shorts.
They look good.
Mickie James looking as good as ever in the ring. You know, hasn't lost a step. I mean, obviously, it was proven when she took on Asuka TakeOver Toronto, but still, you know, in this era, area, just really being able to hold her own still, and
she fits really well with the rest of the ladies that are on the roster.
Alexa Bliss is always great.
Yeah, a fantastic champion.
And like you said, it was. I mean, Naomi got the win over the women's champion Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, this was. I mean, because Naomi didn't get to have her match on SmackDown.
Yeah.
She had that moment where she was supposed to face Natalya, and then she wanted to face Alexa, and she didn't get that moment. So this was...
She basically made Alexa eat her words.
Yeah, this was Naomi's reintroduction back into the women's division, and she did fantastic.
Yeah.
She didn't mess anything up. She was very solid all the way through. So I'm looking forward to a Naomi versus Alexa title feud.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I'm not going to go out and say that I expect it to be the best women's championship match possible on SmackDown, but at the same time, what I think we're in for is a good match that's going to have a couple really good high spots.
Yeah, it's going to
because they're like two of the most athletically gifted females on the roster.
Yeah, and it's going to be Naomi's first real chance to show everybody what she has.
Yeah.
She hasn't had that big match moment where she's gotten to be as good as she can be. So it'll be good for Naomi. It'll be a good challenge for Alexa Bliss. But yeah, Naomi did end up picking up the win with an NXT kick and a split leg moonsault over the SmackDown Women's Champion.
That was cool too, seeing her do the split leg.
Yeah. So babyfaces take the win. We followed that up with our first of 2 Raw pre-show matches, that being the dual referee tag team title match. Yep. Cesaro and Sheamus defending against the Club.
Yeah, this is not that much different than any of the other matches they've had.
That's kind of where the tag team division has kind of been on Raw.
They've plateaued.
It's the same few guys because no one else really gets a chance, and they just kind of do the same stuff.
And I guess it was kind of an interesting way to end the match.
For me, the spot of the match was John Cone taking the fucking bro kick.
Yeah, which ended up being the undoing, potentially, of Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah.
Because after that, they hit a magic killer on Sheamus, right?
They hit a magic killer on Sheamus.
And then Cesaro clotheslined Gallows over the top rope.
And then was rolled up by Carl Anderson,
who had a handful of tights.
Yeah.
The referee, the secondary referee, Dime Store Teddy Long, who was outside the ring, had to get in the ring and start officiating the match because referee numero uno got kicked in the fucking face.
Yeah.
And was playing dead on the outside.
Yeah, so had that second referee been up, there wouldn't have been a chance to miss the handful of tights.
Yeah, because there's still a referee on the outside looking in, would have got a great vantage point of Carl Anderson's hand trying to get a cop of Cesaro's ass. And so the Club win.
Which is fucking cool.
with a little chicanery that
Which-
wasn't really their fault.
No.
They were taking advantage of a situation that was...
Sheamus put himself in that situation. He screwed the pooch. I will give it to him that, he didn't outright, purposefully attack the referee.
I have a WrestleMania, Sheamus versus referees in a 401
Sheamus
handicap
versus
match.
John Cone at WrestleMania 33.
Just do it.
I'm okay with it.
Sheamus versus Drake.
Oh,
We know Drake can go.
that would be cool to see Drake actually get in the ring. and do
Step
something.
up to protect the referees.
Yeah. The takeaway here is, holy shit, the club are the tag team champions.
The last month is the most the club has won matches in the last since they started.
So, good for Gallows and Anderson. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
WWE finally realizing, oh yeah, we got these guys for a reason.
Yeah.
Because they were super fucking over in Japan and with the IWC and the whole Bullet Club shtick. Let's actually do something with them now that they've been here for damn near a year.
So we know we're gonna get a rematch. If the club keeps the tag titles, who do they face after Cesaro and Sheamus?
That's the fucking tough question. Because obviously, who is on Raw? Aside from the go-to other team, which would be the New Day.
Yeah. Your other options are
The Shining Stars and the Golden Truth.
Yeah, those are your other two tag team options. So unless you guys are planning on bringing up a tag team, or you have a tag team and you're just gonna be instead of putting them on NXT, we're just gonna shoot them up to the main roster, and you can guarantee they're gonna go. You really got nothing at this point.
Yeah, my biggest hopes right now is still I'm holding out for Chris Hero to be shot straight to the main roster.
You're hoping for a Kings of Wrestling.
I'm hoping for the Kings of Wrestling. Because, that'd be a fucking...
It would be awesome.
It would be in, the IWC Dream Match. To have the Kings of Wrestling versus the Bullet Club.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But, they could run Cesaro and Sheamus more, which, to be completely honest, I don't really mind, because I'm usually down to watch four angry guys just beat the crap out of each other.
And that's what this is.
Yeah, and also just the fact that it's got Cesaro in it, because he always adds flash to the match, no matter what's going on.
And
right out of the gate, as soon as the bell rang, he dropkicked Carl Anderson in the fucking mouth.
He did. That was the opening move of the entire
Manny
match.
Gallows. He dropkicked another bald
No,
guy
yeah,
in the face.
it was Anderson. Yeah. So,
but also going away from that, the Shining Stars and Golden Truth, I wouldn't mind seeing one of these teams actually get a shot at something.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think just based on the fact that the club are the heel tag team, they are heel tag team champions. You would, in theory, most likely go with a babyface tag team.
Yes, which is the next choice. If they don't go right back to the New Day,
It would be the Golden
Golden
Truth.
Truth.
And don't get me wrong, I love R-Truth, I love Goldust. I don't think enough people would take a feud like this seriously.
No, WWE wouldn't take the feud seriously. And that's the reason, and especially if you watch any of the, not to reference another fucking wrestling YouTubing thing, but if you watch any of the fucking What Culture stuff, whenever Golden Truth or R-Truth is mentioned, Adam Blampied hates R-Truth.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that R-Truth has basically become a shell of a wrestler.
Yeah.
Where R-Truth cannot have a gimmick that's not a fucking doofy-ass gimmick.
Yeah, R-Truth is a shtick. Goldust has his shtick, but can still go in the ring.
Yeah, that's the sad thing, is both of these guys are excellent wrestlers.
Yeah.
R-Truth is a great wrestler. Goldust is a phenomenal wrestler. Especially the fact that both of these guys seem to almost get better as they age.
Yeah, they're both in their 40s.
Yeah. But that's the deal, is just they've gone so far with R-Truth being a conspiracy theorist and having an invisible friend and playing Pokemon Go that you can't take R-Truth seriously anymore.
And I just kind of realized that this is what's going to be the next feud for them because they had that moment with Bayley and the Dusty Bear.
Yeah.
So
could happen.
So Golden Truth is more than likely going to be the next ones to face the club if Cesaro and Sheamus completely fail in the storyline.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That was followed up by Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks in exactly what we thought it was going to be. Sasha trying and failing, and Nia Jax destroying.
Yeah, it's just the analogy that I feel like I'm going to keep running back to for the rest of the year is just hucking an uncooked hot dog at an army tank.
There wasn't anything that Sasha could do. Like, every woman has had trouble with Nia Jax.
And every other woman is bigger than Sasha Banks.
Exactly. I think the only woman to face Nia Jax that might... No, I think even Liv Morgan is bigger than Sasha.
She might be taller.
I think Liv Morgan has a little bit of size.
And then you gotta think, like, Asuka might be, like, height-wise around the
Asuka's
same.
beefy.
But Asuka's got more weight.
So, yeah, Sasha, even without the bum knee, didn't have a fucking chance.
That's like, yeah, that's literally just like going like, Goldberg, fight this 12-year-old.
Fight your shirtless son.
Oh, God.
Anyway, yeah, Nia Jax won with a big old Samoan drop. And that's how that ended.
Oh, God, a Samoan won with a Samoan drop.
Yeah, go figure. And then just before we went to the main card, we found out from Stephanie McMahon that due to his actions at TakeOver, Seth Rollins was banned from the Alamo Dome.
Yeah, and then we found out later during the Rumble card that Stephanie McMahon will address Seth Rollins on Raw in a face-to-face, probably punishing him for something.
It's probably a setup, and Triple H is going to come out and beat his ass.
Yeah, either that or it's going to be like, you were such a bad guy, you have to fight Braun Strowman again, because...
And then Triple H is going to come out and beat his ass.
No, Roman Reigns is going to come out and beat up Braun Strowman.
Fuck, we're not there yet.
Are we there yet?
Nope. We opened up the main card with the Raw Women's Championship on the line as Charlotte defended against Bayley at a pay-per-view.
Wonder who's going to win. I'll be real. I liked the match. It was
it was...
They started a little...
They were a little messy.
Yeah, I feel like it was that moment where it was like, oh, guess what? Bayley's first championship match on the main roster. Maybe the nerves were getting to her a little bit.
Plus, in front of a 50,000 person crowd.
Yeah.
Her first Royal Rumble in a place that has a lot of prestige with the WWE.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Bayley... Yeah, I could definitely tell it was Bayley's side that was a little wonky. Yeah. Charlotte had a couple of missteps, but yeah, I definitely think that the first to Bayley.
The first few minutes kind of almost made me start zoning out because there were those moments where it just seemed like that wasn't quite right. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, and there wasn't anything that was super attention grabbing.
Yeah, and then they started like picking things up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Bayley busting out some new stuff like the top rope elbow drop, a la Randy Savage,
and her little like double jump crossbody was really freaking cool.
Yeah,
I thought that was it was. She went over and then she came back in and she just like, I'm gonna jump off of every rope and then hit a crossbody on Charlotte. It was cool, and there was stuff like that that was fun to watch.
Yeah, and then you had the like, what really lent itself to the match was something that was completely 100% unintentional. And that was Charlotte's mouth getting busted open.
Oh yeah, and it was.
Then you have that moment where like Charlotte gets back on the offensive, and there's just like she gets Bayley in the figure four, and there's just blood pooling in her mouth.
Yeah.
And so it just it was reminiscent of like all those other times where you see that moment of like Stone Cold with the blood pouring down his forehead. It just adds that extra intensity, and I kind of it's in these few and far between moments where we actually see a lot of blood in WWE. It's the only time I ever appreciate the fact that they got rid of bleeding intentionally.
Yeah, because it
does make it mean more.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely. And
even in and not even in a story way, but in a way where I feel like, wow, these guys are really busting their asses because you knew that wasn't intended to happen. Like, they were really going at it.
Yeah, Charlotte didn't plan to bust her lip or get popped in the gums or something to start herself bleeding. It's the ramifications of what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's not we need to bleed to make people interested in the match. It just kind of happened. And yeah, it got to a point where Charlotte started pulling out some nasty tactics on Bayley when they were on the outside, and she grabbed her and rammed the top of her head into the side of the ring, and then kicked her into the stairs, and it was just she really started to just haul off on Bayley. Yeah. And Bayley hasn't been in that type of a situation yet. So now she's having to deal with this sucks. Now I need to try and fight back. And she did to a certain degree, but it wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, we had a moment where Bayley gets to the apron of the ring where it seemed like maybe she was going to get a little reprieve from the fact that she was just in the figure 4 from Charlotte and then into the figure 8, but she got the ropes.
Well, she didn't get the ropes. Charlotte was using the ropes. Yeah,
that's what it was.
And the referee forced to break the hold.
But then Charlotte just not again to make another blood reference, but like a shark smelling blood in the water, followed her out and gave her the natural selection.
Which I commend Charlotte for that, because that's scary.
And for me, I felt like she was very close to potentially dislocating her shoulder on the apron.
Because she didn't land on the apron. She landed on the floor.
Yeah.
And had to get back up. But then it was a good moment for her. She picked a really good, this is really going to take her out type of moment. And, she took it in, I don't even can't think of what she took it in stride. That's what and she hit the ground. She immediately popped back up, rolled Bayley back into the ring. 1, 2, 3. And she retains the women's championship. Pseudo cleanly.
Yeah, and what I enjoy is especially if they do end up planning on having Bayley being the one down the road at WrestleMania to end Charlotte's pay-per-view undefeated.
That's where I think it's going.
They did a really good job of having Charlotte have a super definitive win.
Yeah.
This was we had Bayley had some good moments of offense, but there was never a moment where Bayley seemed like she was actually winning.
No, it was definitely it was an uphill battle for her.
Yeah, there was never one of those moments where I was holy shit, there's no way Charlotte's kicking out of this move.
Yeah.
Or there's no way Charlotte's going to get out of the submission. But then when you get the natural selection on the apron, you're like, fucking, it's done.
Yeah, it's a finisher on the hardest part of the ring. If Bayley kicks out of this, she's definitely winning.
Yeah.
So yeah, Charlotte still Raw Women's Champion.
Good job, ladies.
And
good open to the show. You guys recovered well from a sketchy first minute and a half, 2 minutes.
I just realized that our bookends were SmackDown.
Which is nice.
So we'll move right into our WWE Universal Championship match, our no disqualification, very sexy pinata match between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns.
With the very sexy pinata, Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Above the ring. And way higher than I expected it to be.
Pinatas are always full of prizes.
Yeah.
This was no different.
Not at all.
It took a little while to get Jericho into the cage initially because him and Owens decided to take advantage before the bell rang to attack Roman Reigns a little bit. Roman Reigns did end up tossing Jericho into the cage. He was then raised up, and that's when the bell rang. And then I will say Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the initial beginning of the match. Owens took advantage by really working all the shots in on Roman Reigns' ribcage.
Yeah.
And working that angle over. A lot of Owens' offense already focuses on that area.
Frog splash, the sentons, and the pop-up powerbomb.
Yeah, and even the cannonball.
Yeah.
A lot of torso action going on.
Yep.
What really worked. And then we had, the what the fuck moment that had everybody kind of guessing until the very end of the match when Kevin Owens sets up a pyramid of chairs.
What are you going to do with that? And then, and they teased it really well, too.
Right when they finish setting it up, it gets teased really well, and then it gets not even, referenced or, made allusion to.
It's completely avoided for most of the match.
Rest of the match, basically.
Yeah, because then Owens goes for it again, he goes, oh yeah, I still have this set up, and then tries to tease that he's going to superplex Roman Reigns off of the second rope through the pyramid of chairs, but instead gets himself Superman punched and falls off, and then crashes through the entire structure.
Yeah.
So a good bump from Kevin Owens.
Scary bump from
He
Kevin Owens.
also took one of the longest, most awkward setup power bombs through the announcer's table.
Yeah, right after that. As if Kevin Owens collapsing through all those chairs wasn't enough. And they made they made a reference to this on commentary, which I kind of feel like is something you could point out as a flaw in Roman Reigns' character, the way he's written, is potentially too much of a hothead.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, yes, these guys are feuding over the belt. There's not a ton of personal animosity between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. All of their real rivalry is specifically only around Kevin Owens being the champion.
Right.
This isn't like a Rock Austin kind of feud.
Yeah, they don't hate each other.
Yeah, but then Roman Reigns takes it upon himself to where Kevin Owens is down for 10, 11, 12, 15 seconds of not even moving to dismantle the commentator's table, the one commentator's table he already hasn't dismantled.
Yeah.
Because he took the tops off of all three tables that were down at ringside. Then hoisting Kevin Owens up, where Corey was like, what is he doing? He should just throw Kevin Owens in the ring and pin him because he's unconscious.
Yeah. And in hindsight, with what happened at the end of the match, it probably would have worked better in his favor.
Absolutely.
But still, Jericho was still able to help. He had brass knuckles in his...
Which we got to see Kevin Owens throw a Superman punch to Roman Reigns.
Which Roman Reigns kicked out.
Yeah.
And
then there was another critical thinking error on Kevin Owens' part because he got rid of the brass knuckles.
Yeah, just keep punching him with it.
Yeah.
What? I mean, William Regal only had to use them once because he knocked motherfuckers out with them. But if it didn't work, hit him again.
Yeah. But yeah, then we have Owens crashing through the chairs. Owens gets, I think he got put through the table, gets rolled back into the ring, and we're like, oh, what's going to happen because...
We had a table set up in the corner, which had been there a little bit. The spear had been teased, and then kind of backtracked a little bit.
Yeah, and I was like, with the table sitting there, I was worried that after Owens taking both of those huge moves, he was still going to kick out. And I'm like, okay, and then what? Are we going to make the spear seem like it's worse than falling off the corner through a huge pile of chairs or getting powerbombed through the announce table? Or we're just going to make Kevin Owens look like the new Superman.
Yeah.
Fat Superman. But instead, Braun Strowman came out and power slammed Roman Reigns through that table that was sitting against the corner.
Because Braun Strowman has wanted a match with Roman Reigns or Goldberg for the last few weeks because of the double spear.
Yeah.
So, Braun Strowman completely destroys Roman Reigns and pretty much leaves an easy cleanup for Kevin Owens.
Yeah, who just has to crawl over and put his arm on Roman Reigns.
Yep. And Kevin Owens is still the WWE Universal Champion.
Yay!
Yes. Then we move to our final Raw matchup for the Cruiserweight Championship. Neville looking to solidify himself as the king of the Cruiserweights by dethroning Rich Swann as the Cruiserweight Champion.
Yeah.
And I really liked what these two did.
Yeah.
205 Live and the very small spot that the Cruiserweights get on Raw obviously wasn't enough to get the crowd itself involved. There wasn't a lot of crowd involvement in this match.
Yeah,
unless there was a high spot.
Yeah, the crowd involvement was legitimately basically just the reactions to the moves.
Yeah, there wasn't a let's go Neville, let's go Swan. There wasn't a can you handle this? There wasn't chanting for either of these guys, which is unfortunate because they worked their asses off.
Yeah, Neville and Swan, the one thing that was the high point of this match were just landing the kicks.
Yes.
So all the different kicks they threw, man, they sounded like the referee was holding microphones.
Yeah.
Next to the kicks.
Yeah, and then, there was one from Swan to Neville caught him right in the solar plexus, and it sounded like something cracked.
Yeah.
It was a gnarly sound. And, this was this was Rich Swann at a point where he needed to match the intensity of Neville, because Neville's been destroying cruiserweights for the last few weeks.
Yeah, and then we had like other great feet in the face moments, because Neville went off the top rope and ate a super kick.
Yeah.
From Swann, and then even towards the end of the match, he ate a rich kick, like clean right against the temple of his head.
Yeah. Luckily, he was right
next
to
to the ropes, so he was able to get a foot on the ropes to avoid being pinned there.
Yeah, and then I don't even remember what. So Swann kept trying to go for the 450 off the top rope.
Yeah.
Like, he tried this multiple times. The first time he ended up getting crotched, and then it kind of ended up working in his favor. And then he tried to go up again, and he got stopped, hit with that superplex that we've seen Neville win with.
Which was the second time that Neville went for the superplex, too.
Right.
Neville was thwarted the first time trying the superplex.
So Neville hits the superplex, and Swann kicks out, and then that just enrages Neville again.
And he immediately slaps him into the Rings of Saturn.
Rings of Saturn, and gets a submission victory, and the king of the cruiserweights is the cruiserweight champion. So, good job to Neville, a good job to Swann.
Good coronation.
Yes.
King Neville.
I am excited for him to just rub it in people's faces, because
All hail King Neville.
heel Neville is just so fucking good. He's not going to do the King
All
Ogre
hail King Neville.
thing. No, don't do that.
All hail King Neville.
He's going to keep running with that?
Probably.
Alright, that's cool.
Like every time we talk. maybe not.
Stop talking.
Nature's choking me.
Alright, so, like I said, we had SmackDown bookends. We started the matches entirely with the 6-women tag team match. We finish with our WWE Championship match, AJ Styles versus John Cena. Match of the fucking night.
Yeah, I mean, I will go out and say, I didn't enjoy this match quite as much as I enjoyed their SummerSlam match.
True. That was their culmination. This is the reintroduction of, this is the
big match, Mountain Boy John.
Yeah, this is the next wave in John Cena Styles.
Yeah, which, again, it was a good match. I'm not trying to take anything away from the match, but it was very much like finisher. I really felt like we lacked any actual storytelling in the match, where there was no breaking down an opponent, no making him build back up to a big comeback. It was legitimately like Styles hits moves, Cena hits moves, Styles gets him in the calf crusher, and he reverses it to the STF. And then they do other moves, and then Cena hits an FU, and then AJ hits a forearm, and then they do each other's finishers, but differently, slightly. And so it was really like, it was like a beat match, where it was just like, here's a move, here's a move, here's a move, here's a move, here's a move. Lay down for a second. Here's a move. Here's a move. Here's a move. Crowd pop. Here's a move. Where it was like, at the same time, it was like, it's great because it showed like their work rate just didn't slow down basically the entire match. And they came up with a lot of creative ways to get in and out of each other's moves. We even had a couple of teases where it looked like Cena was going to go for the Styles Clash, and where it looked like AJ was going to go for the AA. But again, it was just like, I was invested in going like, oh, that was cool, but I wasn't like emotionally invested in the match, being like, oh, this is a good story they're telling.
Right.
Look at Cena have to make a comeback, or look at AJ have to try and stand up to Cena because he's so much smaller. Other than the fact that we had like the one moment where Cena got all like roidy.
Oh, where he just like kept flexing for no reason?
And that was like the only time where I felt like there was like an emotional shift in the match, because then Cena was like getting mad.
I think for me, like, the story, we didn't need a story in this because we know what both these guys are capable of after the 3 championship matches that they've been involved with together, and this was more so Styles at a point where he feels he is untouchable.
Yeah.
But he really doesn't realize that one-on-one John Cena wanting to get that championship is a completely different type of entity to deal with. And I felt like there was a little bit of Styles not taking Cena seriously because of how, I wouldn't say easily, but how efficiently he defeated Cena last year.
Yeah.
So I felt like
for me, it's just, I always feel like, despite, I don't care what the storyline is going, but, unless you're giving, like, one of those, like, 2-minute spots on Raw, like, there should be a story progression inside your match. Not just spot, unless you're watching PWG.
Because that's what PWG is.
A fucking spot fest with a mosh pit crowd where everybody's drinking out of pitchers of beer.
Seriously?
Pretty much.
Damn.
They sell beer by the pitcher at PWG.
I don't drink beer, so it really doesn't mean anything to me, but...
Makes for a raucous fucking crowd, though.
Hell yeah. So yeah. Despite the fact that there may not have been a story build within the match, it still was...
Yeah, it was easily the match of the night.
It was by far the most... I was more invested in this match than I was in any other match prior to it.
Yeah, and it's good because, like, both of these guys have done main event so many times.
Yeah.
That for them to go out and put a main event match is, like, basically like tying their shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very simple. They have great chemistry. And I loved... that moment you talk, like that roidy moment for Cena, like that's what it took for Cena in this match, is he got into that level of intensity he hasn't been to in a while, where he just, like, Styles tries to go for the phenomenal forearm, and Cena immediately grabs him.
Like, as soon as he gets onto the top rope.
Yeah, like, doesn't even let him springboard. He's just there. Cena grabs him off the top rope, hits an AA, and instead of going for the pin, immediately picks him up and hits another AA consecutively. Yeah. Like, doesn't even give Styles a chance to even think about what's happening. And John Cena's a 16-time world champion.
Yeah.
So John Cena has officially tied Ric Flair in championship reigns. And a lot of people didn't see it coming. Yeah. A lot of people are extremely upset. But the guy hasn't had the title in almost 2 years. Or two and a half years.
Since Money in the Bank 2015.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
So it hasn't even been actually a full 2 years yet.
Yeah. So like a year and a half-ish.
Yeah.
He hasn't been the champion. He's been in title matches, but he hasn't won in a while. And he puts in a lot of work.
He does.
Like, I can't take away the work ethic of John Cena. And he's been on a really good streak of just having epic matches for the last couple years.
Yeah, for me, the only other negative downside to this match was the build. Not because they did a bad job of building it, but for me, it didn't make sense for John Cena to come back after being off TV for like 2 months and just go, oh, I'm getting a title shot now. And everybody would be like, oh, cool. Here you go. Have it. They should have had him at least win a number 1 contenders match.
Maybe.
It was very raw of you, SmackDown.